Hello everyone, what's up? In today's video I'll show you 4 different trigger airbrushes by Gaahleri, all of which I have used and tested myself and which I can wholeheartedly recommend. They come at different price points, have different needle sizes, and even different paint feed systems, meaning there's an option for every use case. But the one thing they all have in common, they are way more comfortable to use than a traditional airbrush. So if you're wondering whether a trigger airbrush is right for you, or just want to see how they compare, this video is for you. If you have been following my channel for a while, you can probably remember seeing me use the Gaahleri Swallowtail in my videos before. I reviewed it exactly a year ago, in March 2024, and since then, I've literally used this airbrush in every single project. Why? Because I immediately fell in love with it. This was my first trigger airbrush, and for me, it was really a revelation. I often spray for hours at a time, as I know many of you do as well. For example, when you base coat several tanks at the same time. And in these contexts, a trigger airbrush is invaluable. Of course, it can also help you if you have a medical condition, like carpal tunnel, for example. In any case, for me personally, the Swallowtail has been my #1 airbrush for these past 12 months, and this is why. The difference in comfort is huge. And this is not marketing, guys, it's my honest opinion. Is there anything else I'd like to say about the Swallowtail after 12 months of really intensive use? Well, yes, that it has never failed me in any respect. I've sprayed lacquers, enamels, acrylics as well, varnishes, 2K clear, like you can see on screen now, and it's always been a dependable workhorse. But if you want to know more about it, just check out my original review, I would say. Now on to another model, which I've used a hell of a lot, but which you have never seen me use. The GAD68 or GH8068, don't ask me how to pronounce that. But how come you've never seen me use this before? Well, because I've been using it at the Warhammer school club that I run, but I've never shown you that part of my life in my videos until now.
Quiet on set.
3, 2, 1... Don't go full blast, okay? Pull back gently. Yes, that's great. Look at that. So, what grade are you in?
I'm in 7th grade.
Have you ever used an airbrush before?
No.
And what is this that you're painting? Do you know what it's called?
I forgot.
From which universe is it?
Star Wars.
Yes, it is. This is a 3D printed moisture evaporator by War Scenery. Air, like check how little that is. Air. That's it. Okay? Now, don't go all the way back, please. Like something like halfway will be plenty. Basically, you want to do a complete turnaround 3-4 times. Gradually building up the paint opacity, it's called. Thanks to Gaahleri, who very generously agreed to sponsor my little school club back in September, we now have no less than 6 airbrushes. As a result, I've taught all 10 kids who are currently in my club how to use an airbrush using this very model. Well, to be more correct, they sent us 2 normal airbrushes and 2 trigger ones initially. I taught the students how to use both, but the kids immediately gravitated towards the latter, the trigger airbrush. So the GAD68 became our official one. And let me tell you, this little beast is mind-blowing value for money, and it's really dependable. All my students have learned to disassemble it and clean it themselves, and after many hours of use and being handled by the kids, our 2 GAD68 brushes are still like new. Which brings me to my next point, which is that I really believe this is the best type of airbrush for any beginner. If you're watching this video and you don't own an airbrush yet, I would immediately and without hesitation recommend this GAD68 to you, with 2 cups, 2 needles, a floating nozzle construction that makes it rugged and easy to maintain, and at this sort of price, you can't possibly go wrong. But I did say we'd look at 4 trigger airbrushes, not just 2, right? So let's look at the others. This is the Swallowtail SD, which stands for side feed, I think. In reality though, it has 2 different feeding systems. Side feed, yes, but also siphon feed. And it's actually an ambidextrous design. Quite a unique airbrush if you ask me, and I'll be giving this one away tomorrow as it happens. Now, I've only tested the SD briefly, but it worked very well indeed, and it seems like a really solid versatile choice, given everything that comes included with it. With a 0.28mm needle, it can definitely do small detail, and with the larger one and the fan cap, it can also do broad coverage. If you go for this one, I think buying a couple of additional siphon feed cups for it would make a lot of sense, and Gaahleri does offer these separately. Having that would allow you to make color changes without really having to worry about thoroughly cleaning the airbrush in between. Just run some cleaner and you're ready. Now, as for my new favorite, the Mobius TG, I just published an in-depth, dedicated review of it, so I will not bore you by repeating what I already said. However, I did say I would compare them as such, and so far we've only looked at each of them individually. So let's recap. Our first contender is the GAT68, which has a price of $54 USD and comes with 2 needle sizes and 2 cups. Like I said, amazing value for money, and I can attest to its ruggedness. Next we have the Mobius TG, which has a really premium feel and looks really stunning, for $112 USD. Then we have the rather unusual Swallowtail SD for about $10 more, which has a twin feed system, 2 needle sizes, and also a fan cap. And last but not least, the regular Swallowtail with 3 needle sizes and 2 different cups, but no fan cap. So guys, here you have it. Any of these 4 trigger airbrushes will do the job nicely. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or need any guidance choosing your first airbrush, or maybe your first trigger airbrush. I'm always happy to help. Before I let you go, a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters who make these videos possible, quite literally, because if I had to rely on YouTube ad revenue, well, let's just say that I'd be thinning my paints with tap water and mixing pigments with my tears. Thanks for watching everyone, and remember, keep it up and weather it out.